That also made me think when you mentioned your Muslim barber. Did you ever have Muslims on Premiere Unbelievable?
Yeah, yeah, and it would be a mistake to say it was just Christians and atheists. Yeah, we had lots of debates between people of other worldviews, lots of debates between Muslims and Christians, but we also did, Judaism and Christianity, Buddhism, other forms of religion over the years. Some of the Islamic debates were actually probably the sparkiest ones because those were the ones that were most likely to kind of maybe get quite heated sometimes. That was partly because of the characters I sometimes invited on. If you've ever seen Muslims engaging in dawah, in Islamic evangelism on street corners, or there's a special place in London called Speaker's Corner at Hyde Park, and I even filmed an audio documentary of the debates that go on there historically between Christians and Muslims, and they can get very heated and very loud. A lot of kind of rhetoric. So those were quite different sometimes, the kinds of conversations I would host on those issues. But yeah, again, very interesting. Learned a lot along the way. Made some friends as well, And so yeah, it's and obviously, arguably, I would say now Islam is a much more potent threat. Might be the wrong word, but a kind of force in the UK compared to atheism. Atheism, I think, has kind of shriveled up to a large degree in the UK. And if there's alternative worldviews vying for people's imagination, Islam is definitely one of them.
Interesting. It's interesting too, seeing there's certainly a rise, at least on YouTube, of anti-Islam apologetics. I would say that's something I've definitely noticed, and also because it seems like Islam's currently the fastest growing religion, at least by birth. Uh, so they're getting a lot of people there, but it seems like there's more people leaving as well, since there's more information about what the actual Islamic traditions and religion actually states.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. And I think it's a two-way street. It has been in terms of Christianity as well, of course. But yeah, Islam absolutely in terms of birth rates, Islamic majority countries are way ahead of most Christianized Western countries. But as you say, yeah, I have met a lot of ex-Muslims in my time. A lot, and there's a really interesting sort of stuff happening in different parts of the world, often very underreported, but very significant numbers of Muslims often coming to Christian faith for various reasons. That's sometimes because of a sense that actually a sense that Islam has failed them in terms of its record on violence and the cultures that they're seeing around them. Um, Often it's happening in quite supernatural ways. You look at the church in Iran, for instance, that has gone from about 10,000 in the mid 90s to over a million today. Probably the fastest growing church in the world right now is the underground church in Iran. So yeah, you should not underestimate what is going on there. Now, it's a mixed picture though, because obviously there are so many political issues and, Syria and everything currently in turmoil. There's a lot of questions over what that means, and you've obviously seen lots of parts of the Middle East almost emptied out of Christians because of the persecution that exists there. So it's one of the harder things to track exactly where the trends are going. But having said all that, I think there's a significant number of Muslims today who are arguably coming to faith more than at any other time in history. So yeah, we'll see where it heads.
Yeah, a big note too is recently the biggest, I guess, he was a former Muslim, and his YouTube content's basically against Islam, against all type of Muslim content. I think his name was Apostate Prophet. He recently came
That's
to
right.
Christ the other
Mm,
day, which is quite extraordinary to
yeah,
hear. Very
yeah.
cool.
I've
But
been tracking his story a little bit, and he's had a lot of conversations with other Christian YouTubers and influencers like David Wood. And yeah, it felt. I think a lot of people anticipated converting to Christianity was on the cards for the last year or so. But yeah, it was really exciting to see that he has officially, I think, been accepted into the Orthodox Church. Interestingly,